The Biden Department of Justice is making a risky political move in arguing and appealing the Florida judge's decision about masks on planes. And if this fails to work, this could jeopardize the ability of the CDC and other agencies to ever require masking or other public health guidelines on public transportation if it fails. So it is very politically risky. So let's back up and I'll tell you what's going on. Earlier this week, a Florida judge decided that the CDC had overstepped its authority with the masks on planes. And we call it masks on planes, but it's like masks on mass transit regulated by the federal government. But let's call it masks on planes. The argument was CDC overstepped its boundaries. And the argument made by the judge in her decision was that the CDC is allowed to put in place guidelines for the sanitation of airplanes, and that a mask on a person is not really about sanitation on airplanes. Now, you could argue, well, you prevent needing to sanitize the seats if people wear masks and they don't put germs on the seats. Like it starts to become a semantic thing. But one of the notable aspects about the decision was that argument could have been made at any time during the pandemic, and it was made by a judge now with just like 10 days left until most likely the masks would be coming off anyway, although we're not totally sure. Earlier yesterday, Joe Biden was asked, should people still be wearing masks on planes? And the Republican Party and others made a big deal out of this answer, which Joe Biden gave.
Should people continue to wear masks on planes?
That's up to them.
That's up to them, saying that is a personal decision. It's an individual decision. It's not for the government to tell people what to do. And then moments later, the Department of Justice has appealed the federal ruling on the transportation mask mandate. CNN and others reporting the Justice Department Wednesday appealed a ruling by a federal judge that struck down the mask mandate for mass transportation following a recommendation by the CDC. It is the CDC's continuing assessment that at this time, an order requiring masking in indoor transportation remains necessary for public health. They will monitor, they will appeal. There is a court decision that is ultimately coming forward. So let's talk through the different aspects of this. Some are focusing on the Biden administration. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. Joe said it's a personal decision, and yet his DOJ is appealing. I actually don't think that's a problem in any way. We've said before, when it was Trump trying to direct the DOJ on what to do, we would say Trump should have no involvement with what the DOJ does, who it investigates, what it does. It should be just up to the DOJ. So it's a good thing that Joe Biden gave us his opinion. Well, right now it's an individual decision because at the time it was. And separately, as is supposed to happen at the end of the day, the CDC, in consultation with the DOJ, have said we still want this and we believe that legally we have a case. So the DOJ is appealing. I don't have any issue with that. And Republicans have been saying, oh, it's chaos. Joe says one thing. No, this is happening as it should. Joe Biden gave his opinion. The DOJ is making its decision in consultation with the CDC, and they will carry forward a legal argument as to why the masks should remain, which is their opinion. Now, what is the risk to the DOJ doing this, particularly when the mask mandate may have been ending on May 3rd anyway? We don't know that for sure. Originally, the mask mandate was through April 18th. There was an extension through May 3rd. Cases are actually rising now 25-30%. It's not clear whether medically it makes sense to get rid of masks on planes, but it seemed politically it was likely coming to an end on May 3rd anyway. What's the risk to doing this? Well, the risk is, imagine that the DOJ fights this as full-throatedly as they can, and they don't get the masks put back on. That could then serve as really powerful and destructive precedent in the future. Imagine we get the next next wave, call it the whatever wave, the Sigma wave. And it's more contagious than ever. It's more deadly than ever. And it would be appropriate to say masks have to be on at airports and on planes. If this decision doesn't go the DOJ's way, there may be a total inability to put in place a mask mandate when it's like really needed. Right now, it's like probably a good idea. But listen, maybe we leave it up to people to decide. We could have a situation in 6 months and 12 months where it's like, wow, we absolutely need masks on planes. And there might be no way to get it done because of the decision that might be forthcoming here. So that's the legal and political risk. It also would just look bad if, hero Trump appointed 35-year-old female judge prevails over Garland and the DOJ. It just looks bad politically. And so that is the risk. And we won't know for a little bit what happens, but that is what's going on. One of our sponsors is called Privacy. Privacy is a totally free service that I've been using for years. Privacy lets me create virtual payment cards with one click. And when I use the virtual card, the money is taken out of my bank account. You can create multiple cards, delete them, freeze them, set a spending limit on them. Let's say I'm signing up for a free trial and it requires a credit card. Privacy will autofill a virtual card number. And then after signing up, I can delete that virtual card. So I know I'm not going to be charged again. Something really useful and very practical. Or let's say I'm ordering food over the phone, but I left my wallet somewhere. I don't have my real credit card on me. I can use a virtual card on my Privacy mobile app. But really the best part is you're not out there exposing your real credit card number, so you're not as susceptible to data breaches and identity theft. Privacy is a totally free service, and you'll get $5 to spend when you go to privacy.com/Pacman. The link is right underneath this video.